want to explain further now what my interpretation of what happens with group activists, community websites at the moment with any issue that you may collectively have as individuals. This represents this body down the bottom here. We tend to then move to the larger social media websites, larger platforms, for example GetUp. Then we try and push to the MPs' offices to get them to understand our issues, and maybe then hopefully get those MPs to take it to Parliament. We have what's called an e-petition. Currently the government and its committees take on board issues, and this is how we're supposed to get it to our politicians at the moment. If anything makes it past here, it gets to the MPs' debate, and finally we talk about the MPs' creation of law. The problem for me, and hopefully for you all, no matter what you're wanting to campaign on, is it takes decades to get from this point to this point. An example, the NDIS was floated in the Whitlam government eras. It's obviously nearly 70 years ago. Again, the gay marriage issue's taken decades, and predominantly we needed to get more gay MPs to become members of Parliament before it really became a chance for them to make a difference. What I asked for your help to do is predominantly, we have lots of issues in this country. It's taking too long to get from this point to this point, regardless of what the issues is. First Nations people are a great example of that. The help I need is for all of the activists, all the group communities to now come together and look at a way of getting to this point quicker. In this day and age of the use of computers, the use of social media, life in general is very quick, but when it comes to actually creating law, it is so slow. So my suggestion is that we're dating back 100 or so years on how we deal with any given issue, and we're saying that this is democracy. But we're not saying get rid of democracy, we're not saying change what we do or how we approach it in any major way. We just need to get to this point, lessen this about, so that we can get on with the businesses of governing, because that's where the frustration comes from. Now, if we were to adopt what I am saying to use is the census form. Here's the same situation, but you can clearly see that this is the activist groups, the community websites. This is the 50 political parties which create the questions, right? So that will eventually be on the census. When the 50 political party, which is what we do anyway, but we specifically vote for the party or the person, and technically if we were to bring this in, we could not only vote for specific questions that possibly your party doesn't aspire to, but then you could also vote for your own political party when it comes to voting. So what I'm trying to say to you is that questions will be asked, right or wrong. Your political party will suggest one that they think they're feeling strong enough about. It will become the back pages of the census. Yes and no happens, and then we take the debate out of it, because really it's like a referendum every 4 years on 50 major items. So the MPs don't need to debate and yell at each other and take time at $1 million a day. Our Parliament, it just takes far too much frustration and years of infighting, name calling to get to this point. I've just done another chart quickly. This is the events that stop our nation at any specific time of day. You can see we've got the Melbourne Cup, which is, you know, first Tuesday on every November. We have federal elections, which the whole nation has to come still and pretty much is affected for that whole day. We have Remembrance Day, 11th hour of 11th day of every year in November. And of course there's the census. Now, out of all of these things, we know what each of us are doing on that particular day. The census night, we all stop to ask very personal questions. And I know I keep reinforcing this, but this already happens. They want to answer the same questions, or they get better at more personal questions every time we do a census. I'm suggesting to anyone that'll listen, hopefully all of you, will come together and say, what a great idea, you know, we really need to be able to voice an opinion. And it's all about time. It's all about saying to the politicians at any given time that there's 50 issues, we've now listed them, we've now responded to the 50 issues. And it's going to give you support, the support you need. It'll give you a clear direction, and what it will do is bring the country together. So I will go into what we do next in the next video, as in how we're affected by plebiscites, how we're affected by referendums, and why at the moment the politicians and the governments separate that. Thanks.